Hi ladies, it's Hillary, owner of Free Babes Handmade and blogger at I'mLikeBrave.com. I started this blog because I'm passionate about entrepreneurship and ladies developing small businesses where you can achieve the time freedom and success to be able to live lives you truly love, uncommon lives with your family. Each week we interview a creative entrepreneur so that you can get a sneak peek into their lives and learn from their successes and their failures and hear their stories and ultimately just be encouraged and inspired by their hard work and what they have built themselves. I hope this blog can be a place for collaboration and community, and so that we can all lift up and encourage each other. So I hope that you learn at least one thing that you can incorporate into your current business and that you enjoy. Hi ladies, it's Hillary with I'm Like Brave, and I am so excited to be speaking with Amy Richardson today, CEO of June and January, or formerly Little Hip Squeaks as of a few weeks ago. And Amy, I know I speak for the whole handmade community in saying that we're super excited to hear the behind the scenes of your story, because you are one of those people who started, making products a couple years ago and now have achieved enormous success. So thank you so much for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, totally. So before we start talking about business, Amy, tell us a little bit more about who you are and kind of like what formed you as an entrepreneur.
So I live in Brooklyn. I've been here for almost 10 years. I have two little babies. One is 4 and one is 5 months old. I went to school in Buffalo, and I actually have a background in design and marketing, so not totally a stranger to those things. I sort of, even as a little girl, my mom always told me, like, you're going to be famous someday. You're going to own a business someday. And somehow that always stuck with me, and I always sort of had this idea that I was going to do something. I really never knew what it was going to be.
That's awesome.
And then kind of, through school, you get your first crappy job, and then I had another crappy job, and then by accident I became a business owner. So
That is so cool.
It's one of those things you never really, some people, I guess, expect to end up as business owners, but it happened by accident, and, I've never looked back and can never imagine working for somebody else ever again, so it's good.
I feel like that's the best type, the accidental entrepreneur. That's what I am as well, so totally. So how specifically did Little Hip Squeaks come to be?
So when I was pregnant with Eli, which was a little over than 4.5 years ago, I guess now, since he just turned 4, I had a lot of friends that were pregnant at the same time as me, and I started making these little baby hats out of old t-shirts just for something to do when I was bored. I was working at my kitchen table, cutting and sewing these little hats, and I gave a bunch of them away as baby shower gifts to my also pregnant friends. And one of my friends said, oh, you should put these on Etsy. And I knew what Etsy was. I had been a buyer on Etsy for years. I thought, oh, that's a good idea. I'll do that. Because I had made literally like 35 of these stupid hats. So I put them online, and 2 days later I had sold like 6 or 7 of them. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. And within a couple weeks, I was like, you know what? My big dream is going to be that someday I'm going to sell at the Renegade Craft Fair. And that was as big as I could possibly imagine at that time. And that was all I wanted to do, was someday have a table at Renegade Craft Fair. And then, a year later that came and gone. And then the next plan was, okay, I want to hire my first employee. And then, you keep just setting these sort of like mini goals. And, I've been able to get to each one of them somewhat, with a minor struggle, I guess. And it's, just one thing after the next sort of happened.
Okay, yeah, I just actually registered for Renegade today because of your recommendation for Chicago.
Which one are you doing? Chicago? Oh, that's the best one. That's the best one. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
You bring a lot of product and a lot of people to help you.
Yes. So I'm Like Brave is all about women creating uncommon lives for themselves that they love through their business. So what is your big why for you?
As a New Yorker, you sort of fall into this idea that like you're going to be out of your house for 16 hours a day between your commute and your work day. And when we moved to New York, that was my typical life. I used to work at Teen Vogue, and I had long hours. And when Eli was an infant, I really didn't get to see him that much. So it really came down to when I quit my job and started doing Little Hip Squeaks full time. It really just became I wanted to spend more time with my kid. It was as simple as that. We had a nanny that was working, and I was when I first quit my job, it was like, okay, Emily, you're going to work way less hours now because I'm going to be running this business that's not that big of a deal, and you'll be able to work half as much, and I'm going to spend all this time with him. Of course, it didn't really end up being so much how it happened, but I really think most parents, everything you do is for your kids, and really that's every day, what gets me, up in the morning, and how I sort of think of my business is how can I make this better so that I can have more time with them or more money to take them on amazing trips or, put them in better schools or better programs. So it really, at the end of the day, is all just about what I can achieve for their sake.
Totally. Can you tell us a little bit more about your internship with Teen Vogue? Like, what did you learn from that?
I was in, so I worked in the production department, which is super boring. It's a lot of like pre-press preparation. So you get a lot of stuff ready to go to print. So you do a lot of like color checking and like minor retouching. It's really, it's sort of the last man standing before it goes to print. So It was a lot of boring stuff, a lot of long hours, but I was there for almost 5 years. So it was really, it was a fun job. Okay.
Do you know Lauren Conrad?
No, I don't know Lauren.
Okay. Okay, so can you give us a brief history of, what'd you say?
I saw her once. I think I saw her once in the building with Amy, but yeah.
So I know you guys just became June and January, and can you give us kind of a brief timeline of growth? Like what happened? Like what were the milestones of your growth?
Yeah, we actually put this really cool timeline up on our blog, which is really exciting, that sort of showed that as well. So it went from, I started it in August of 2011, so Eli was maybe 2 months old. And then by March of 2012, I got featured on this really great blog called Cool Mom Picks. And I was right around that time that after that feature, I started making as much money doing the business as I was bringing home at my real job. And it was like, all right, well, this is kind of ridiculous. Like, this wasn't the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started sort of like toying with the idea with my husband being like, hey, do you think I could quit my job? And, we were, as New Yorkers, you never really think that's possible. And within 2 months of that conversation, I did leave my job. And then I did my first Renegade Craft Fair, which, as you know, was my big goal. And even up until maybe even last year, it still like hasn't caught up with me yet that like, this is my life now. This is what I do. This is my job. This is my business. So after Renegade, I hired Amy, who's my director of ops, in that fall.
Okay.
And that was really such a defining point in the business. Like once I was able to pass off something else onto somebody else, a lot more opened up with my time of what I could do. And then sort of like slowly, we moved from, I used to do everything myself. I used to sew everything, and then I had 2 seamstresses, and then we switched to a different method of having our fabric printed. So it used to be digital, and now it's screen printed, and now we're looking at another option. And then we went to manufacturing, and it was really just like, we kept adding these steps that were going to make us have the ultimate goal just being that we would have more inventory to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And, then we were able to like put out new product lines and, new colors and new styles, and really just like sort of building the foundations and adding a little bit more every year to what we were doing. And, now we're a team of 5 people, and, we're looking to hire 2 more people for this holiday season. And it's just, things just really grow really rapidly, I think. And, the last year has been like a total whirlwind where it's like, sometimes I'm like, I can't believe this is real life, but it's great. I mean, it happens very fast.
Yeah, like seriously, you're like living the dream, I feel like. I mean, for starting doing your stuff yourself and then to actually have like a business, like what you said, having someone that's doing a lot of those other things for you, because I feel like now you're able to truly do what you love in your business.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Susan from Freshly Picked, always is like my business guru. And she's always said like, do what you do best and hire out the rest. And that's always resonated with me. It's like, well, you know what? I hate doing this. And really like at the end of the day, nobody becomes a business owner because they like writing customer service emails or they like to ship packages all day long. Like that's not our dream. That's not what we're in this for. So why are you doing it? And I think really once you start realizing like, you know what, if I pay somebody to do this, what am I going to open up my time to be able to do? And that's really, every day that's sort of what I wake up and think, okay, I hate doing this thing. Who can I pay to do it? And what will that let me do instead? So
if you could pay someone $10 an hour to ship your packages, so why would you like spend the time that you could be using marketing and doing these things that would cost someone a lot of money to do, like doing a $10 an hour job?
Exactly. And you spend, and it's a lot of people I think try to split their time between it. Like I used to, even when we had the office, when we first moved in there, I would be, shipping packages for the first 3 hours and fielding texts from Amy, which were basically me answering emails via text. So it was like, it just didn't work. And I was like, why am I doing this? Why do we not have somebody in here shipping these packages? So it's sometimes that little light bulb goes off. It's like, wait, duh, I should just have someone do this for me.
That's cool. Okay, so can you tell us either a specific moment or a mindset of failure that you've had in your business and kind of what the biggest lesson you learned from it was?
I think on a more like specific scale, it's really that, there have been certain products that we've invested a lot of money into and then they just completely flop. And, you always sort of think in your head, in the back of your head, like, this is going to do so great. And then when it doesn't, it's so disappointing. And there's definitely been 3 or 4 things in the last year that really like surprised me that they didn't do well. And that's always sort of like a blow to your self-esteem when you feel like you're doing such a great job with what you're putting out.
Totally.
But it happens. I mean, it happens to everybody. It happens to anybody, small business, big business, you never really know how it's going to be received. So, that's definitely made me sort of like step back and think like, okay, we shouldn't be launching like 4 different things at a time. We need to really do one thing at a time and really like put our all into it and not just sort of like put it out on a whim and hope it takes off. So, and that also comes down to like just budgeting, making sure that I'm putting the money in the place that it needs to be. And this year, like this season is really the biggest year that we've spent a lot of money on, things that aren't just product related. Like we've really invested a lot of money into marketing and PR and SEO and new stuff. But I think, no matter what you do, it's always going to be risky, but, you learn your lesson, I guess.
Totally. Okay. So then this is my favorite question, and especially for you, what would you say is your biggest strength as an entrepreneur? And if you were to teach a college course on entrepreneurship, what would it be? And give us like a quick little lesson.
I definitely think my strong suit is marketing and sort of like thinking outside the box for how we work with people. I think really for me, what's really important is like growing a community and then marketing to that community and really like putting yourself, not only as a business owner, but people really love to know who you are as a person and who they're buying from. And it's sort of this struggle as you get to be a bigger brand where people feel like they're not, they're not really connecting to you anymore. And that's sort of, I think, really important as a struggle as you grow from like a medium-sized business to bigger or, smaller to medium, making sure that you don't lose sight of people knowing who you are because it makes it a lot easier for you to market to them, I think, when they feel like they have a connection to you. So it's sort of like the punch jab motto where it's, you're giving them insight into your life and then you're also trying to sell them a product at the same time. So
I'm glad you said that because I am experiencing the same thing. I know there's the shops that are actually I just saw something on Facebook about someone mentioning about your shop the other day. They were like, oh, she doesn't do custom orders anymore because she's so big. And I totally saw that and I was like, everyone's goal is to start out handmade, but obviously like create a business that gives them freedom. So how do you keep the balance of like what you said, I love it. Like you keep posting cute pictures of your kids. So we truly know you're a real person, but you've also achieved success in a big business. And I think that's everyone's goal. So I love that you said it's okay to keep putting like your personal photos because I've been like wondering that lately. Like, do I stop? Do people still care?
And I know a lot of people have sort of turned away from that, and not only just a lot of it because of safety reasons. As you get bigger, more people know who you are, and they recognize your family. And it is a little weird sometimes when you're out with your kid and you're yelling at them because they're eating sand and somebody's like, oh, aren't you little hip squeaks? And, it's happened a few times where I'm like mortified, like Juniper freaking out in the airport and somebody's like, oh, I love your brand. And you're just so embarrassed that like, yeah, this is what my kids are really like. They're kind of dicks sometimes. Like, but yeah, I think, like for me personally, I love being able to buy from people that's like, I get a little bit of glimpse into their life and it's sort of like, you feel like you know them, but at the same time, you're not like waiting 12 weeks for a product because it's like a one-off of, a single dress or something. Totally. So there's sort of that like weird balance where you have to find like, okay, I'm a business owner, but I'm still this real person that you're going to buy from.
Yeah, no, totally. That's awesome. Okay. So the big question, how do you feel like you find balance being a mother, a wife, a business owner? Like, what does your life realistically look like?
This is always my favorite question because I really feel like I like know what I'm doing when it comes to balancing. The biggest thing that I really decided was about 2.5 years ago when we really started like snowballing and I was, I had an office and I was really working like legitimate hours every day. Take one day a week and just take it off and don't work. I always take Fridays off. I have taken Fridays off since Eli was like 18 months old. And I really try to think of like our time together as quality versus quantity. And it's like, okay, I might be in the office and I might not spend that much time with you Monday through Thursday, but on Fridays we have like the best adventures. Like we're eating ice cream, we're on the playground, we're in the sandbox, we're eating French fries, like we're just going to town, we're having so much fun. And now he's in school and I plan to do the same thing with Juniper. So I think it's really like, it really just comes down to quality versus quantity. Like so many people think like, oh, I'm not spending time with my husband doing this or whatever, but just make sure you have like one day a week where you're just really focusing on, one person in your family or your kids or whatever. And that's really been like the best thing for me to maintain a sanity, because it's like, I might be at the office on Tuesday past his bedtime and I'll feel really bad about it. But in the back of my head, it's like, yeah, it's okay. We're going to go to the aquarium on Friday and we're going to, eat snow cones. It's not that big of a deal. Like he'll spend time with me and we'll have a great time, and he's not going to care that I wasn't there to read him a book tonight. So
that is awesome. I feel like that's one of the best answers about balance I've heard so far.
A lot of people always say like, oh, balance is bullshit. And while I agree with that to some extent,
yeah,
because I think when you own a business, you never turn it off. Like even when you're like, oh, I'm not working, and you're watching a TV at home, or you're watching a movie with your husband on Netflix for 6 hours, you're still on your phone. Like you're still looking at your business, you're still reading emails. So it's hard to really like turn it off when you own a business. But I think really just like, again, quality versus quantity is so important.
Yeah, and what it frees you up to do is, like you said, truly be present when you're present with your kids.
Exactly.
And like the biggest thing I deal with is like the guilt, like you said. Like if I haven't been present, I'm super guilty the next 3 days versus just realizing like you can turn it off. Now just be present for this day and create memories.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it's a really good tip.
Totally. Love that. Okay, so what would you say has been the best marketing technique that you've used? Kind of like, instead of like a big, broad example, just like a specific thing that people could take away from this.
A specific thing. In the last year, we really tried to do a lot more like face-to-face sort of events. So like we did something with Land of Nod last year, and I've really been trying to like say yes to every single event that like comes my way where I can really go out and meet people, because you really never know who you're going to be connected with. And it's not even necessarily, bloggers and influencers, but your customers. And, you get to meet these people that support your brand. And I think really like once you've grown a decent following, taking it offline and really spending time and like showing that you actually care about this community of people that supports your brand. And they get to meet you and you get to hold their kids. And it's just like such a different experience. And I think, as a customer, I think they really appreciate that you kind of go out there and you like do something special for them, whether it's, have a play date or just like, have a pizza party or whatever it is, which is really something like I want to do more of this year because I think it's so much fun and it's different. So I think a lot of people put all their eggs in one basket for online marketing, but I think it's important to sort of take it off the computer every once in a while.
Totally. Yeah. That's really great. Especially when Instagram's so easy. It's like you can just get sucked in forever and never escape.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so what would you say has been the best business decision you've ever made?
I'm going to say it's two things. First being hiring my first employee.
Okay.
That's such a world of difference. I mean, there's that would probably be the A one if I have to really pick one. But getting a space that was outside of my house for an office was really also very, very important.
Really?
And that sort of goes back into having a good balance.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it was really like, it might be 8:30 at night and you're like, oh, I have like 10 packages I should be shipping right now. And you can't just like relax. So I think having something outside of your house really gives you the ability to like turn it off a little bit and not feel like, oh, I should be working. So getting an office space was definitely a really big one for me, not only for my personal life, but it sort of gave me the space to really be like, oh, we can take meetings now, or we can like work on this other project and we actually have a table to do it on. And we have this space where people can come in and meet with us and like collaborate. So I think that's another really big one, is having a space outside of my home.
Okay. I love that. And especially like, I mean, for all these businesses that are just starting up, like there's all these work rental spaces you can have, community spaces. So if you can't afford like your own business location, you can go work for a couple hours.
Green desk, or even just taking it out of your house and going to a coffee shop. I saw you today had posted on Instagram that you like working out of coffee shops. And my husband, he is an editor and he works from home, but he always goes to the coffee shop just because it's so nice to like get out of, it's sort of like motivational. It's like, okay, I'm not wearing pajamas right now. I'm going to leave the house and I'm going to actually like get shit done. And I think being outside of your home really makes such a difference for your motivation.
Yeah, totally.
And I think, even if it's just a coffee shop, or you can get green desks in a lot of cities where you just rent a desk for like $30 a week. It doesn't have to be expensive, but I think just leaving your home is important.
Totally. Yeah, that's great. So what inspires you as an entrepreneur? I know you have background with design and everything, but like as a business owner, where have you found your resources to, keep learning about what it takes to own a business and unique ways to like innovate your company?
I really try to it's been really bad since Juniper's been born, but I used to really like to listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of business podcasts. And even if they weren't necessarily in the same field that I'm in, they could be completely unrelated. It might be service industries or passive income podcasts. It's still just really interesting to listen to how other entrepreneurs run their business or even if you take one tiny little tip away from it, it's always, worth it for that hour that you listened.
Yeah.
And going to conferences, I think that's really another place where you can sort of hear little things that are motivational, and reading business blogs. Instagram has a really great business blog. You can kind of, they'll link to other businesses and you're like, oh, what are they doing? But I actually really like just finding businesses that I look up to, big or small. You could even look at Target or something and go and look at what their marketing techniques were for the last year and seeing, oh, what did they do last year? That really worked well for them. That's interesting. I just really like to study what other people have been doing. So I think you can sort of learn something from somebody else.
Totally. Can you give us some of those specific podcasts or the Instagram one that you would listen to?
So I really like the Instagram blog, just like the Instagram for Business blog. The Pinterest for Business blog is really good too. Smart Passive Income is really great. What's the marketing one we listen to? I can't think of it off the top of my head. But you can actually, there's a list that I actually use. It's the 10 best entrepreneur podcasts. And there's tons of them. They're endless. But Smart Passive Income is really good.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily because I'm selling a tangible good, so it's not really passive income.
Yeah.
But it's still you hear from a lot of other business owners and what they do, and it's just, anything that really sort of gets you excited about business is fun to listen to.
Totally. So, if you could have coffee with an entrepreneur, who would it be and why?
I want to have coffee with every entrepreneur. I love taking meetings and I love meeting up with other people. I really like Britt Bass. I mean, she's an artist, she's a painter, and it's totally a different industry than me. But I think when people really have a unique style of what they're doing and they're able to sell something that's a tangible good, it's just fascinating. So I think she's really interesting, and I really love her. As an artist, she's great at what she does.
Okay.
But generally everybody, we just at our new office we got this great new conference table, and really the whole point of it was so that we could bring in other entrepreneurs and sort of have these round table breakfasts and just talk shop and talk business.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because I just love stuff like that. Yeah, come out. It's in my opinion, have coffee with as many entrepreneurs as you possibly can.
Okay. I love that. Totally just networking all the time. So what is next for June and January? Can you tell us what's coming up for you guys?
So I'm going to be vague and just say that we're expanding sizes a lot. We have a lot of really exciting stuff on the plate for the rest of the year. We're going to try to break into a totally new market, which is scary but exciting. And it had a lot of fuel behind the name change. That should be coming in January.
Okay.
We're going to try to launch into a bedding line, so that's exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we just invested a lot of money into PR, so it's now we've got somebody that's going to help us get all this stuff out in front of people, so we better be doing something really exciting. Really, really just putting out new styles and putting out as much new stuff as we can, and really broadening the brand is really, a big thing for the rest of this year. So
yeah,
it's exciting. It's scary. But.
Totally. Well, we can't wait to see what's coming up for sure. And can you give us, or if you had any advice to give to yourself, knowing what you know now when you were just starting, what would it be? And also, what advice do you have for everyone watching?
I think the biggest thing that I would tell myself is be patient. One of the biggest emails that we get in our inbox is people that always want a quick answer of how do I get 50,000 Instagram followers tomorrow morning? Or, how do I become super rich in 2 weeks? But it doesn't work like that. And honestly, if I had to go start a brand new business today, I probably wouldn't do it. I would be no, I can't be bothered. It's stressful and it's hard, and you really, really have to be patient. And I think if you sort of think of your end goal is just to make money and be a huge business, it's not going to be great for you. You really need to set these mini goals and be okay, this is something I can actually reach, and think about it, sort of short term. At least that's how it worked for me. I never really started out dreaming big and thinking like, oh, I'm going to have this team of employees and I'm going to have an office. So I really think just like patience, like so many people want it to be a quick fix overnight, like celebrity on Instagram thing, but that's not really how it works. That's not a sustainable business. So I think, putting in the time and putting in the effort and really learning and soaking as much stuff up as you can, really perfecting your product market. It's all super important. You just got to wait. You just got to wait it out.
Totally. Well, that's so great. And Amy, thank you so much for being with us today and for just being so open about your journey as a business owner. And I hope all of you listening have learned a ton. And I just challenge you to take one thing that you learned from Amy and apply it to your business this week. And I hope you guys have an awesome day. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.